I have a dream.
It's one small step for man.
I am the greatest.
You want something, go get it. Period.
What's up, my fellow dreamers, doers, achievers? This is episode number 7 of the Dream Big podcast. And before we get into it, I want to have some housekeeping things and then talk about some things. So we changed a lot of the social media. We converted it to more personal stuff. It's better content for you guys. It'll, in the long run, be better off. And we'll highlight that at the end, what the social media is, and then YouTube and all that. But I just wanted to highlight that. And then also, to get right into it, I'll talk about a quote by Henry Ford. He once said, "Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young." So never stop learning, never stop growing. Something very important we always talk about here. And this episode is a special one. We have our first ever interview, and it's someone who I've grown extremely close to in a short amount of time. There's a deep connection. Call him a dear, dear friend now, and we're really going to get into it. A lot of fun things we'll talk about, and yeah, man, I'm just very excited. The road looks bright. You know, we have many interviews coming up, so this is a good one to start it off. And without further ado, I will introduce Fidel Boamah.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go, baby.
Hi, guys.
So,
It's Fidel.
Man. Yeah, man. So for the people who don't know you, which obviously there's people who don't know you, first ever podcast. Just tell them a little bit about where you came from, you know, who you are, how you ended up here in Philly. Just something you would tell your parents or like people you've never met before, you know, a little stranger.
So my name is Fidel, obviously, and I'm coming all the way from Ghana, which is a beautiful country in West Africa. And I find myself in Philadelphia to study interactive digital media because design is something I'm really passionate about, and I feel a lot of people, a lot of businesses, especially back home, aren't doing so well because of basic stuff like aesthetics and, you know, really basic presentation of, you know, products. And yeah, so that's the main reason why I'm here. But beyond that, America's always been a place I've wanted to visit, to grow up in, and to really like immerse myself in the culture. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're having a good time so far.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. Yeah. And it's awesome to see you. Your first time here, right? I know you've came here before now. Your first time in America.
I've been here. I was here when I was like 4 years old. Okay. But yeah, I was too small, so I can't remember most of it.
Yeah. So I fully admire people who come here. Like when I first came to Philly, a new city, I was nervous myself, but I can't even imagine someone from a different country. So I like fully admire that. Was there any like nerves coming in at all, or just fully optimistic?
So many nerves. Like, even up till now, like it seems like I'm settled, but there's still a lot of stuff going on, you know, in the background that most people don't see. But yeah, definitely moving to like a whole new country. Is literally moving to a whole new world, because I had this conversation with my roommate, and he was talking about how some guys traveled from like, let's say Sweden, where there's so much snow, to like the desert, and like imagine how different. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, but like toned down.
Yeah. So for you, it was nice weather, where snow for half a year.
Yeah. But like it goes beyond like the weather. Yeah. It's also like the people and the culture, and not being able to relate to a lot of different things, and like, you know, just feeling out of place sometimes. Mm-hmm. It can definitely be an overwhelming thing, but as time goes on, you know, you adapt and you get used to it.
And a good thing to take away from that as well is like, we talked about earlier, that discomfort is making you grow, and you'll be way stronger than other people who've never moved before,
Exactly.
never experienced like any discomfort or difficulty.
Yeah, that's so true. Because when I think about it, those people in my school who don't have the opportunity to come like leave Ghana and experience a different culture, I wouldn't want to say like they're losing out, but there's definitely something they wouldn't get, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a very humbling experience, and it opens you up in ways that you wouldn't have imagined.
Yeah. Travel. I think doing it myself for a couple of years. I know I'm young and I have a lot to do when I'm older, but the traveling I've done so far in life, I've learned so much. My mind has expanded like crazy,
I can
and
imagine.
you just see all these different things, and it just opens up your whole world. But going back to it, if you wanna get into it, that discomfort in life, that how it has changed you and how it helped you grow. Would you want to talk about a little bit, like what happened in your childhood or anything that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, all right. So we haven't said this in the podcast, but I am physically challenged in that I have one leg, but it really depends on your perspective when it comes to things like this, and not just things like this. As a matter of fact, when it comes to everything, it depends on how you look at it. You know, people will see my situation to be a disadvantage, and it is. You know, if
physically,
you want it to be. It definitely is if you want it to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see it as a disadvantage, and so for me, it's not. But there are definitely times, and we can't avoid it, but there are definitely times where I'm unable to do certain things. But in as much as that is so, I wouldn't let it limit me in any way.
Yeah.
I'll just find another way to do it. So just to take things back, I lost my leg in 2005 when I was 6 years old. And what happened was I crossed the road and a huge Coca-Cola truck hit me. And that led to inevitable amputation. And so I was rushed to the ICU, and the ICU is basically intensive care unit. And I was there for like a month or two. I was in a coma, and so that was pretty tragic. And then after that, they moved me to the children's ward, and that was the first time I knew that I had lost my leg. And funny enough, it didn't make me cry.
Really?
I was just surprised. I was like, where is it? Like, you know? And the first time I found out was when some doctors brought me 2 crutches, and they told me to get up. And then when I got up, I realized I didn't have my leg. And the first time I held crutches, I fell down. First time I held crutches, I fell straight down. But right now, I will never fall down with my crutches. Never.
That's just, bro, thank you for sharing that in the first place. I really appreciate it, bro. I feel like people will really learn a lot from that, and there's so much you can take away from it, man. You just, failure, falling down the first time, a sudden shock of that happening to you, and then also growing completely, mentally. I mean, physically, obviously a little disability, but mentally, there's no disability whatsoever. First time I met Fidel, he had more advantages mentally than most people I've met before. He had this vibrance to him. He had this, genuine side to him, and just like a good person. Very, very. He gets it. I want to be surrounded by people who get it, and he gets it. So. Just a very insightful story. And what do you think going forward from like when that happened to now, how much it helped you grow and improve?
Right. I have to say that I appreciate you saying all those sweet,
no problem.
kind words.
No problem.
But as a kid, as a 6-year-old, before I lost my leg, I was a really skinny dude. And compared to what I am right now,
stocky.
Bruh,
Better watch out.
And I'll say most of that is because I use crutches. Like,
really?
Every time I move, I literally have to carry my whole weight.
Yeah.
And then that builds my upper body.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, you know, I would have never imagined being this size when I was 6 years old. And every time I walked, every time I fell down, every time I felt like I was unable to do something and I managed to push through and do it, it gave me that confidence, it gave me that drive to, you know, continue pushing because, you know, if I've done it before, I can do it again.
Exactly.
So those little things compounded over time have, you know, made me the sort of person that I am today. And so Will Smith said this in one of his videos. He was talking about how failure is like your best friend, and that, you know, with failure, you know, you can get anywhere if you just look at it as opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I say the same exact thing. You shouldn't look at failure as a negative thing. You should look at it as an opportunity to grow. And then also the same thing applies with like a negative emotion.
Right.
You know, you get angry or upset. You should look at that as a message to yourself that something's wrong. I need to change something, you know? So you need to have that perspective, like you highlighted earlier, have that perspective and that mindset to look at the glass half full.
Right. I definitely agree with that.
And something else I wanted to bring up and highlight, wrapping it back, making those marginal improvements. There was a TED Talk Fidel sent me a while ago. It was, if you want a certain goal, if you want to achieve something, if you aspire for something, you have to break them down and make those marginal improvements. And highlighting, like he said, in his life, he made those improvements from, you know, first falling down and then being physically as strong as he is now and mentally as strong as he is now. So making those little improvements over time, they compound to something much greater, and it's exponential in its ways. So I just think it's so strong if you have like those daily habits and you have them ingrained in your day, how powerful they can be to influence your week, you know, your month, your year. What are do you have any daily habits that you go by, you live by at all, that really help you in life?
So I've not been too great at that, but I started this year doing like workouts every morning. Like I would do like a 7-minute workout, and I could see the benefits of doing that like throughout the day because I'll just be active all through it. It will clear my mind. I used to write in my journal. I used to have a journal, but I don't use it as much these days. But like I would write one thing I'm grateful for every day, and that changed the way I looked at things because I started looking at things from a really grateful perspective, and I started seeing like the positive things in a lot of like almost everything. Like I began to be extremely positive about, you know, the worst things. And, you know, another thing that I wanted to talk about in concerning discomfort is that most of the times, like, people see the grand picture. Like when you're done, you know, throughout the struggle. They're like J. Cole said, there's beauty in the struggle. And that really means that, you know, like when you go to the gym, for example, and, you know, you're doing cardio and you have like 10 more minutes and it's really tiring and you can't push, that is where the greatness is. It's when like you're on stage shaking but you're still saying whatever you have to say. That's where the greatness is, and that's where the beauty is. And the beauty is not in the final product. It's not in your six-pack. It's not in like people saying, you know, that was a really good speech. It's actually in the struggle. And most people don't see that. And that's when you feel the best. You feel the best when, you know, you felt the worst.
That's beautiful.
Put that quote in your quote book, people. Take that with you. But that's so true. You know, the journey is the most important part of life itself. It's never a destination. That's why when people talk about the word success, it can hinder them sometimes because success seems like a stopping point. You know what I mean? It seems like a final destination, but we're always evolving and we're always learning from the journey. And then also highlighting from what Fidel pointed on, there's beauty in the struggle. There's without problems, there's never improvement. So if you have it easy, if you have all the things going well, everything's in the green, it's gonna be easy. You're not gonna really learn a lot from that. But when you have a particular situation where it beats you down, and life throws a right hook in your face and then an uppercut twice, that's when you remember it the most. That's when it's fully imprinted in your brain, and you learn the best lessons from those struggles.
Yeah.
So wrapping it back to what you highlighted earlier in your life, the stuff you went through is probably so impactful to the person you are, and I can even see it.
Yeah.
Other people can probably see it, and you're probably 10 times, 20 times stronger because of that.
Yeah. So another thing is capability.
Capability
is not reserved for particular people. Everyone is capable. That's what I strongly believe. I believe I could become a lawyer.
Exactly.
I believe I could be a doctor if I put in the work and I actually do it. And I think people need to realize that we're all one and the same. Like, every human being at their base is the same. And we're literally given the same opportunities.
Yeah.
Because we have the same stuff in our bodies. And
that's like with Les Brown, what he said. We all start off when we're born. We start off naked.
Right.
We start off unknown to the world and just a world full of opportunity.
Right.
But then when we die, on the graph of where people end up with what they have achieved, it's scattered. So when you're born, everyone's level, and then when you die, everyone's scattered. And I think it goes back to people being afraid, of themselves, of what they can accomplish, and of others' opinions. So they're all capable. We're all capable, but those things limit them and hinder what they're really meant to do in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me just say this one too. Les Brown also says that the most valuable place in the world is in the cemetery, because in the cemetery is where people, where dreams.
Their dreams die with them, their books die with them, all their thoughts die with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not where I want to be in life. And the only way I'm going to get there is if I face the stuff that I fear, and if I do the stuff that I don't want to do.
One thing, I don't want to cut you off, but one thing that I live by, and I think I highlighted this on a podcast or a blog previously, what we need to do most is what we fear most.
Exactly.
It's just like one of those beautiful quotes, but it's so true.
Yeah. And so, we actually all know what we have to do. We all know what we have to do. But, actually bringing ourselves to do that is sometimes the hardest thing anyone could ever do. So, and another thing is most people don't know what they're doing in life.
That's what I wanted to highlight as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Self-awareness is the key.
Yeah.
Self-awareness is the key. You can keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
But we're all trying to figure this life out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all trying to find our feet. So you should definitely be able to do stuff that you're not comfortable with, and then learn from the experience and just keep going, because you don't want to stop and then be like, I could have done that. And
And the one thing about self-awareness is and you can apply this to complacency, which is a perfect topic. If you have the self-awareness to know that you can keep improving and to know that there's no stopping point, then your life is exponential. There's all these possibilities that are in front of us, all these dreams we want to accomplish, and having that self-awareness that we're fully capable, we're fully able to do these things, and it's just self-awareness, and that's why I fully, with Dream Big, emphasize yoga. That's why we have programs with yoga. That's why I teach yoga, because in yoga, you have the self-awareness of your body. You have the self-awareness of your imbalance of your mind. If you're wandering, you have the self-awareness that you're trailing off and not focusing on the present. So that's another topic we can talk about, but just I gained my self-awareness through yoga, and then through the trials and tribulations of life.
Yeah.
And just a lot of people don't have it, man.
Yeah, I see.
A lot of people don't have it.
It's a very powerful, concept to digest, and just apply in your life every day. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
And then the one thing I wanted to end with and talk about was how life gives you what you're ready for. So we're all put to the test at certain times to see if we're really meant for that dream or goal.
But yeah, that makes so much sense, bro. Because for the Code Fest that happened yesterday, I was all out for it. Like, I wasn't really all out for it. Let me take that back. But I had so much happening this week, and it was even shocking for you to like text me and tell me like, I'll help you schedule your stuff out, I'll help you, like manage your time properly. But it was so shocking how much opportunity is out there for me. Like, there's so much to do, like so much to do. And yesterday was one of the days where I realized that if I stay ready, I'll be able to take on all the opportunities that are thrown at me. And so like being ready is part of being really successful, you know? And the main problem with the main problem with staying ready is that you have to do it every day. And you have to consistently work at being ready. And I fell short yesterday because, I had too many things going on. I didn't manage my time properly throughout the week. And so there was an opportunity that I strongly believe, without a shadow of doubt, that it would have been mine only if I had managed my time properly. So only if I had stayed ready. And, I fell short of it. Yeah. But I know, like, more opportunities going to come, and, like, this is just a learning curve. And there's so many times where we're going to be met with the same problem. And those problems won't go until we actually, face them. And
exactly.
One of them is like time management. Like, time management is always going to be a problem. So you always have to plan your day. You always have to plan your time. And people say time is the most valuable resource because it is the most valuable resource. Like, if I spend my time learning how to code, and in 2 months there's a Code Fest, I will be ready to code, and chances are, I could be a part of a winning team, and I could win money. I could like get my foot in the door into a company like Google or Uber, just because 2 months ago when I had the opportunity to, I actually learned how to code. And that's what happened to me, basically. Like in December, whilst I was at my brother's place, I had the time to code, but like after a while I just stopped. Then like this week, I had the time to do things, but I just got tired and let it slide. And you will definitely pay for like the missed opportunities with regret. But the pain of regret is, someone said something about like the pain of hard work is less than the pain of regret. Something along those lines. So like, I'll just leave you guys.
Yeah, that's something I had in this Dap Talk Friday we talked about like a story when I was running in my neighborhood, and I stopped by to talk to an older person, and the main thing he brought up was like the regret of not doing something in life. And having an 80-year-old person say that to me, I make sure now to not regret and not go after something I really want. And then other things I wanted to highlight, just so you guys have full context. Code Fest was a 36-hour hackathon type thing where they had a bunch of teams throughout Philly come and try to solve a social problem by coding an app or coding like an AR, VR type thing. So the one team that ended up winning was they created an AR where you point your phone at a door and it'll say if it's unlocked or locked, and in case of school shootings and stuff. And then also the two things I wanted to take away from what you said, lay a context for everyone listening, was life will make you step back sometimes, so you have to step back and realize that you need to manage your time better. And, you weren't ready for those certain things. And then also, people try to avoid pain, they try to go around it, they try to jump over it, but you got to face it head on. It's not going to go away till you deal with it.
Right.
But one thing I want to end with every podcast is I want to ask you, Fidel, what are your dreams and how do you think you can accomplish those dreams?
Right. So I think the greatest tragedy in life is to not try to achieve or reach your greatest potential. And so for me, that is, really exploring myself and seeing how far I can go as a person. And I think one way to get there is just to, put yourself in uncomfortable situations so that you can learn things and so that you can find things about yourself you probably never knew. Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
that's it.
And do you have any particular dreams or one dream that it might seem ridiculous, crazy, but you want to accomplish it in your lifetime?
I don't think I have really wild dreams,
Mm-hmm.
but that may be because I think all my dreams are sort of realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But I know one of them is inspiring people and making people aware of their capabilities is one of them. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And to round it out, is there a social media or somewhere people can follow you on and stay connected with you?
So my Instagram account is Fidelile, and that's Pidele. Yeah. So
Cool.
you can follow me there. I have some really nice pictures.
He definitely does. I can take testimony for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and what we are doing at Dream Big, it would mean a lot if you can become more involved with the Dream Big community. You can do so by subscribing to this podcast on any of the following podcasting platforms. We're on 8 channels, 8 different platforms. Our channel on YouTube at Dream Big & Co. and follow us on social media at Dream Big & Co. That will all be in the show notes, so you'll see that and you can get a direct link to those platforms. Most importantly, at the end of the day, we ultimately do this for you to add value to your lives. So if there's anything you like, dislike, or want changed, please rate this episode and leave a review. Like I said, it would truly mean a lot. And thank you, and have a great one.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.